Hello and welcome to a new video. Today's video is a little different from usual videos. So recently here on YouTube, this channel hit 100,000 subscribers, which is honestly insane. I can't believe that happened. I know there were some of you who wanted to see my YouTube plaque award thing when I got it, so this is for you guys. Here it is, kind of crazy. Yeah, I just have it hanging up on my wall. I can't believe I have this. So I want to thank all of you guys so much for all of your love and support. You guys have just been so amazing. When I started this channel, I had no intention of it actually becoming something that I spend this much time and work on. I genuinely only started this channel because people over on my Instagram were asking for sketchbook tours. And if you go back and watch the first sketchbook tour, which I beg of you not to, but some of you might, you will be able to tell that I was not a very confident person. Combined with the fact that I didn't know how to edit my videos, it is a very quiet and bad video. But a lot of you stuck around still despite that, and over the years I've been slowly getting better at editing. I can feel that my confidence has grown, and that is because a lot of you have been so kind and so supportive, and I wouldn't be here without you guys. So I don't know how I can say thank you enough. But yes, I asked you guys what kind of thing you would like me to do to celebrate this. Majority of you settled on a draw this in your style video. So that is what today's video will be showing. At the end of this video, there will be a section for all of your submissions that you have sent me. So of course that means everyone who has taken part in the challenge, or if you've just seen the post, you already know how the art for this video is going to turn out, but hopefully this can still be enjoyable to see the process of how it came about. So to start, I just wanted to show you some of the sketches, some of the planning sketches I did for this video. This is my character Bellamy. He is a magician dog. This was when I was like, what am I gonna do for my draw this in your style? I have no idea what to do. And I started sketching this guy out, and I realised how much fun I was having with him, and I was like, yes, this is the character I want to do for this. So we've got some sketches here. I like the idea that he has like a mishmash of doing like magician tricks, but he also has real magic. And then here are some more sketches as well. This was my figuring out his character design. This is how I like to do that, just by doodling little scenarios of him, you know. And there's also this little mouse called Duke. He shows up in another one of my videos I've done. I made a little clay model of him. I will have that linked in the description if you are curious. But yes, he is also here. He kind of gets picked on by Bellamy. This was my planning for it, but I still at this point didn't have an idea of what I actually wanted the piece to look like. So I then moved to my tablet just to draw some roughs, and this was really fun because this helped me get more of an idea of how my character worked, figure out his design a bit better, and like how I wanted things to mesh. But also it was just really fun to try and come up with a bunch of different ideas. So I did one that was just basically a redraw of something in my sketchbook. Then I did another one that was kind of like meant to be a playing card. Then another one where I wanted it to kind of reflect, like have like a stained glass effect behind him, which then devolved into like, do I want the design to be in a glass ball, because I had played around with like one of those seeing ball things. And then I finished with what will be my final design, which is Bellamy doing something with his hands where it's like creating magic. And then there are also like two big hands coming down from the sky behind him, which are actually his own hands. And I don't know what the meaning behind it is, but I just thought it looked cool. So I wanted to do this piece traditionally. It would have been a lot easier to do it digitally, but I really like doing things traditionally mostly. So I primed this wooden canvas that you see featured in my Meaden videos. I once again put way too much paint on, so I ended up using the spare to prime another one because I don't know what it is, but I keep doing this, or I put too much paint down. I think I've gotten better recently because I have been doing more painting and I've been so actively trying to control how much I put down. But yeah, so I then printed the digital sketch that I had gotten of Bellamy because I really, really liked it. And I wasn't sure I could draw it again in a way that I liked. So I printed it out, but I printed it flipped, because my idea was to kind of do a trace transfer onto the paper. So by printing it flipped, it means that I only have to draw over it again twice as opposed to 3 times. I then taped the page down to the wood so it wouldn't move. Yeah, then I just got to tracing it again, and this transfers the lead that I had put down on the other side onto the canvas so that I have a rough sketch of the drawing. Super handy, and yeah, I don't know, it's like a little trick of how to get something you've already done transferred. I then gave this one a coat of orange fluorescent paint. This is for 2 reasons. I wanted to seal any of the loose graphite in so that it doesn't muddy up my actual painting. And also my colour scheme for this piece was oranges and blues because they go really, really nicely together. And I thought it would give it a nice kind of cozy magic vibe. So having the orange down, like I was planning on using orange anyway. And then I think it contrasts really nicely with the blues I put down, and it just made the whole process a lot of fun. So I started by putting base colours down using the Meaden paints from my Meaden video because it helped me cover a lot of the larger areas and just get a general idea of all the colours that I wanted. So I started with the hands and then the background because the background kind of has a lot going on in that it has a lot of like wavy lines and magic effects coming off of it. So I just wanted to get that down without worrying about messing up Bellamy, because I wanted him to be kind of like the last bit I did so that I could then paint over the background with his details rather than worrying about painting around his details with the background. Does that make sense? For his colour scheme, he's technically like a black dog wolf, but because of how I like to colour things, he is typically blues and purples. And so because of this, I wanted his outfit to be oranges and reds because they contrast really, really nicely with the blues and the purples and gives it that cozy look that I was talking about. So yeah, as you can see, I am just blocking everything in. I have done coloured pieces of him before, so it was pretty easy colouring him in because I had it all figured out, and I did actually do a kind of colour scheme thing, a plan digitally before doing this piece to give me more of an idea. This was really, really fun. I did tweak a couple things from some of my original paintings of him because I have like a portrait of him in my sketchbook. I just tweaked them to make them fit this better, and I think I prefer them overall because initially he did have a little bit of blue on his outfit, but I decided I didn't want him to have any blue. So after getting all the base colours down with the acrylic paints, I am now going in with a bunch of acrylic pens. I am using a range of Arrtx pens. The set I'm currently using at the moment is the 90 pen set, but I do also use their 60 pen set in the purple box, and also I can't remember what they're called. They have a 36 pen set as well that is like in a green box. Maybe this helps, maybe it doesn't. I will link the pens in the description below. They are the same pens that I explained that I used in my video where I try to explain how I colour things. So as you can see, I have been adding some blues and purples to his outfit. This is One, for shading, but also because, like I mentioned, the colours go really nicely together, so they create a nice contrast with the shading. And typically I really love using purples and blues for shading everything, but I was just slowly building up more detail and more depth. I tried to leave the centre of the picture, like where his hands are doing his motion, kind of brighter, because I did want him to have like a kind of magical source there, even though I had not planned out what I was doing for that at all. So you can see I'm trying to add like a sort of gradient to his fingers where it gets brighter and more orange to the tips of them. And I do a similar thing with his face or with his head, where I want it to get darker the further away it is from the center of the picture. So I'm adding like red and orange highlights and also using purples to help create the depth of it. And it was quite tricky. I felt like I was constantly just adding and mostly on his face, nothing felt like it was going right, and it does look a mess, especially since at this point I have completely covered his eyes. So it did help a bit when I added some darker colours to pick out where his eyes are, but I was struggling a lot with contrast. So something about this character is, like I mentioned, I just kind of made him up on a whim, but he has kind of become, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but he kind of has, he reminds me of my dog, Manchi, who is a Whippet Lurcher, Bedlington mix. He's a thing. He kind of looks similar to how I've drawn Bellamy. So he's kind of become not a stand-in. I don't know what word I'm trying to find, but he is basically now based on my dog. He wasn't initially, but because of how much he reminds me of him and how much I love my dog, he is kind of sort of loosely based on my dog. I don't want to commit to that too much because obviously I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this character, you know, and also I've made this character kind of like a mean trickster thing, which just feels cruel to say to my dog, although he is a very, he can be very, very naughty and gross, so maybe it is kind of fitting, but yeah, my dog, I just love him so much, and I haven't seen him in ages because he lives with my mum. Yeah, I find it really fun drawing this character because it's kind of then like I get to think of my dog, you know? So you may have noticed I added some sort of like white particles to where his hands are. That's because I had like finished doing a lot of the colouring that I wanted to do for him, but I was like, I haven't actually made a magical thing for what magic he's doing. So my brother suggested just doing these little particle effects because then it's not really going to ruin anything that I've already done. I don't have to add too much, and I think it gave a good effect. So that was, I'm really glad that he suggested that. But anyway, so after doing that, I am moving on to the hands a bit more. I wanted to give them some more detail. From the beginning, I wanted them to be like glowing at the fingertips and then kind of fading into darkness because I kind of wanted them to blend in to the background a bit the further up the like wrist that you go, and I do think I managed that, but I don't know, I also got used to how bright they were, so I feel like I removed a lot of the contrast, which doesn't work in its favour, but I'm mixed because then I do also like how it blends in a bit. I then started adding some of the colours for the background, and then also I went over the like shooting star things with white because I wanted them to be a bright orange, so I thought adding a white base would help the neon that I add later stand out, and it definitely does. But this was mostly because I'd also like painted over a lot of it with the background, so I needed it to stand out a bit more, because otherwise I think the process of adding the white would have been pointless. But if I hadn't like ruined the shapes of the stars, I wouldn't have needed to add the white. But anyway, so I am now adding line art. This is using the Meeden paints again, and I'm just using my very small nail brush to add it in. This is a very dark blue or purple. I can't actually remember which one I'm using, and I'm mostly doing it to just make some parts stand out, or parts where they are, the bit that I'm lining is in shadow. So you may have noticed that I'm not lining absolutely everything. That's because I go in with a dark red later, because I kind of want it to give the impression of like line art being affected by the lighting. Does that make sense? But anyway, this was very crucial. It added some of the contrast that I felt this picture was missing, but also it just made everything look so much neater and stand out more. And I really like how the line weight varies, because I'm using this brush, which makes it harder to get a consistent line work. But I really like how it goes from thick to thin. I think it gives it quite a nice illustrated look. And as you can see, I'm using the red line art, and it just kind of completes it all, because it fills in the lines that I was missing, but it still keeps the lighting, I think. And then I added the fluorescent orange, and then I went in and added a little bit of line art to the hands. I didn't want them to stand out too much, but I wanted to define them a little bit more. So I did variations of light blues and dark blues, again to just kind of stick to the lighting theme. And yeah, I think it really helped them stand out a lot. And then I'm going in and touching up some of the colourful wavy lines that are coming off of him, trying to just make them stand out a bit more, because at this point they were all looking very samey, and I just wanted a couple more pops of colour. And then to make it more interesting, I also did a couple like yellow dots of like magical particles coming off of him. I then like completely redid some of his face because it was bugging me. I didn't like it, so I changed how his eye section was, and as that is drying I am also adding in a bit of variation to the section behind him, because I was struggling to get contrast. But now that the base of all that is done, I wanted to also colour in the sides of the piece, because I had intended on doing that from the beginning. So I'm going with this dark purple. It's the same as one of the purples that I used in the picture, so it ties in really nicely. And I'm just giving an even base around the entire edge of the canvas. And then once that was dried, I went in with a blue pen just to kind of give some shapes along the edges. And initially I wanted to fill the edges with a bunch of shapes. But after doing the first one and seeing how full it was, I decided to kind of do a variation. So the top and the bottom of the canvas has that design that you just watched me do. But the edges are a bit more emptier so that it's not way too cluttered. And I was just making this up as I was drawing it, which was a lot of fun, like kind of a risk. But I really enjoy just making up designs like this. So it worked out and I really like how it looks. I think it keeps theme with the rest of the picture, and having the blue on the purple, it's like it stands out enough, but it's not like crazy different. So yeah, I quite like how it looks. It kind of gives a book vibe, like something you might expect on like a magical bookshelf or something. That's it. That is the process for this picture. And I really like how it turned out. I think, again, I have a couple issues with contrast, but that's something that I always have issues with. I think I'm slowly trying to get better at it, but slow is a very key word in that. But yeah, I really like how it turned out. The colours turned out like exactly how I envisioned it, with like the bright orange and the blues and the purples, and I'm really happy with it. And I'm so happy with all of the entries that I've been seeing from you guys. Like, you guys are so talented, and just seeing all the different variations. Some of you have been coming up with completely different poses, and that has been really fun as well. And also some of you have been including the little mouse Duke in your pictures, and that has been really sweet to see as well. I wasn't expecting that, so the fact that you guys have been doing that just makes me really happy, and it makes me wish that I had also included Duke in some way. I want to thank everyone who has been here for my YouTube journey so far. It's crazy how many of you there are, and I hope you guys, if you plan on sticking around, I hope you guys enjoy and see where this is going with me. I hope to keep doing this for a long time. I love doing this. It's so motivating, and it keeps me pushing to keep working at my art. I want to also give a massive thank you to my patrons, and stick around because after that the entries for the Draw This in Your Style will be ready. Dispe, Grimclow, The Waffle of Life, Non-Toxic, St. Nick's, LP, Kira May, Kay, Joanna, Mila, Pretty Rotten, Joanna Snake Moon, Humble Frogs, Local Fishkeeper, Mould Ghoul, Farrarware, Sun Arts, Molly Marula, Scout Radley, Sammy Bear 127, Kenzania, Arrow, Charlie, Malorus, Cindy King, Art by Lavender, Angela's Weird Tales, Rainbow Tea, Breaded Nuggets, Learns, Humani, The Moth Bug, Knox, Catbird House, The Tormented Shadow, Sweet and Hopeless, Pocket, Jordan's Tiny Planet, The Coffee Rain, Black Jackal Art, Leela Loves You, A. Wendu, Ronnie, Olivia Gadbor, Feather, Cheris Needham, Rotting Lettuce, Binixery, Cyrus Orion, Mottled Pixel, Malbon Designs, Gamut Girl, Solar Tortoise, Auden, Red S Lily, Hayley, Sienna G, Lady Ratbird, Fia, Greenfinch G Illustration, Lynn, Cody, Kaleidoscope Arm, Cloud, Redders, Ziutka, Beetle Ghost, Melisandre Sinclair, Bria Washington, Hurrier, June, Dakota Garcia, Manon, Lily Likes Art, Rona, Levi, Tink, Daniel McGuinness, Janine, Dios Live, K2, Flossie, Stegosaurus, Yoinks, Stoyan, Spooky Chloe, Starry Fern, Kiki, Nuclear Nail Bomb, P. Wright Stuff, Raig Norway, JGP, Spaceman Theo, Slurp, Nosebridge, Cherry, In the Clouds, Nowil, Saturn, Saturnswar.jpg, Bunnybee, Samara, One Joltaire, Lee H, Jen B. Burning, Fenray, Cinderus, Mon, I Like Tea and Pokemon, Kaino K, Bland Polecat, Destiny, Kaya D, Jamie, Riggs M23, Lolly, Mel Vogel, Lily Laukels, Lex, Vienne, Dean Marie, Minwa, Frillian, Valania Madeira, Arc Angle, Cindy Flint, Tylart, Adia Fox, Blackout 1706, Fast Sketched, Shin and Anna. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. And now it is time to see all the entries. And I'm just, like I said, I'm blown away by how creative all of you guys are, and it's so nice just seeing all of your different art styles and how you've all approached it with like different mediums, because we've got like traditional and digital. Thank you guys so much for taking part and for enjoying this. Like I'm just so happy that you guys liked the picture. Thank you guys so much. I will just leave the entries rolling on the screen, but otherwise I will see you in the next video.